Technology is not trying to let me be great. Look at this. Like, I'm looking at this necklace and it looks like the computer is looking for a green screen or something. Every time I do videos, and it's not every time, but a lot of times I get all these weird things that happen that I have to figure out. And I'm glad it happens because I get to figure it out before I have to do a presentation or lead a discussion or something else on Zoom. So I'll have to figure out why this is happening. But nonetheless, I wanted to come on here and talk about the time I was at an Isley Brothers concert and I almost burned down the San Diego Convention Center. But before I get there, we have to talk about the verses last night. That was incredible. I mean, epic. That's epic. You know, like I use epic sometimes and stuff may not even be epic. Not like this was. This was epic. Yesterday, Earth, Wind, and Fire came out of the gate with That's the Way of the World. Then they went into, let me see, Let's Groove Tonight, Keep Your Head to the Sky, and then the live version of Devotion. I remember someone texting me around round 9 or something. It was like, who you got? They had Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I was like, right now, Earth, Wind, and Fire is winning. But I knew that back half was going to be something else. So I was just curious to see what was going to be played. But I enjoyed every moment. D Nice, especially during the break when he was playing the songs that sampled a lot of their songs. And then even Steve Harvey. Even Steve, I thought he talked a little bit too much sometime, but I was glad we had the conversations. And, you know, and I could just see how excited he was. Like, as happy as my soul was being here looking at a TV and a computer, I can't even imagine what he felt being there in person. Like that was a whole nother level. So I'm going to give him a pass on that. But it was just so good for 4 hours. So when midnight came, I was just like amped. Like I was not ready to go to sleep. It reminded me of when I was on a Time Joiner cruise one time and they had a concert that started at 3. I was up, so I was like, let's just go. So I went to this concert and it was the Kings of Crunk. I don't even know what crunk music is. At least I didn't think I did, but it was people like Trillville, don't ask, Bone Crusher, Yin Yang Twins, like people who I didn't think I knew, but when I heard the songs, I'm like, oh, I do know crunk music. But anyway, it was so good. The energy was out of this world. And when it was over at 5, I could not even go to sleep because there was just like so much energy. So this was like the last time I felt this amped after something where I just could not go to sleep. So I decided to do the post show with Stephen Grant Hill and Steve Panman. Now they do a pre-show every versus and they'll do a recap or after show where they go through round by round and talk about who won and why they felt that this person, you know, this person or group won, etc. So I did them for 2 hours. 2 hours. And mind you, when I watched the show, I didn't write the songs down. Like I had done that for Teddy Riley and Babyface. I just saw that sheet of paper somewhere recently, but I didn't do that for this one. But as we recapped, I decided to do it because I wanted to score just to see what I would come up with. And I can tell you it was pretty much a tie. It was pretty much a tie. I ended up because they don't let you do a tie, right? They don't let you do that's a tie, that's a tie. So you had to pick one or the other. And so my score was 12-13. I'm not going to tell you which group won, but mine was 12-13. I would love to hear who you thought was the better of the two. And we all know it's just like there really is no, we all won. I mean, there is no winner in this besides everybody who watched this, okay? And Triller, they definitely won. And but there were 2 rounds that I had difficulties with. Like for the most part, I could just pick who I thought was the winner based on where I was in my life with the song and whatever. But I had 2 rounds that I had a difficult time with. Number 6, which Earth, Wind, and Fire did Love's Holiday. And then the Isley Brothers did Groove With You. I couldn't figure out which one. Like I love, I mean, Do You Mind? Like we all know that first word, you know, those first words on Love's Holiday. But Groove With You reminded me of when I was a kid and my family used to play baseball. We would go to Forest Hill Park and play. So that was a tough one for me. And when I look at my notes, I checked one and then I crossed it out, checked another. That was a hard one. And then round 18 was a hard one. Now, let me say this. So round 18 was when Ron Isley had sung Between the Sheets, which I had found out at the pre-show with the two Steves, that that song came as a result of Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye. When that song came out, Ron Isley said, "Oh, I got to find a song that can go with that," and that's where Between the Sheets came from. And I know he did. He talked about another song that he had done based on an Earth, Wind, and Fire song. I think it may have been Devotion, and they came back with something else. So he was one of those competitive types of people, evidently. But he had sung Between the Sheets, For the Love of You. Those were the two songs prior to the round 18, which they came with Don't Say Goodnight. And that song, you know, it starts with I Want to Love You over and over again. I want to see what you like in bed over and over again. Okay, that's Don't Say Goodnight. But Earth, Wind, and Fire came back with Can't Hide Love. I couldn't figure that out. And so, yeah, I could not figure that one out. I mean, I had to give it to one. I'm not going to tell you who. You can tell me who you think should win that round. But it was just so much fun, to the point that I was up and past 2:00. I think the Stevens went on, or the Steves, I should say, went on for 2 hours or over 2 hours. And I was right with them all the way till we got to 25, which was Who's That Lady versus September. But I went to bed finally. My alarm went off. I hit snooze so many times that it was 2 hours later by the time I realized that I had been hitting snooze. So I had to get up, work out, do my green drink because I needed some energy, because I definitely am tired and I want to make sure that I am up tonight to watch the basketball tournament. But anyway, it was just so much fun. But getting back to the whole purpose of this video, which really is about verses, but I titled it How I Almost Burned Down the Convention Center in San Diego. So I went to see the Isley Brothers. Now I've seen them a couple of times now. The last time I saw them, they were with the OJs on the cruise. I didn't think it could get any better than that, but it did tonight. And that wasn't even in person. But when I was in San Diego, I used to go to the Black NBA conferences all the time. Like they used to be so good. So this particular year, it was supposed to be in New Orleans. And that was when Katrina came at the end of August. So they had to move it fast. And so they moved it from New Orleans to San Diego. So I have been going to these conferences at this point for about 8 years. So if you do any of those conferences and you see people over and over again, you become friendly. And so you find people that you will hang out with at these conferences. And so I had someone that I was hanging out with, and I'm not sure what happened, but we didn't hang out. So I ended up going to this conference by myself. I mean, a concert by myself. But I had run into someone who I had met some years ago. I had met him when we were at the Disney concert or conference, and Disney was in 2001, right after 9/11. So it may have been in October of that year. And I remember when I flew down to Disney, like I was one of 2 people on the plane besides the staff, like, because no one was flying at this point, except the people who were going to the Black MBA conference, because it was 10,000 of us who was at this conference. And so I met this guy, one of his friends introduced us to each other, and we kind of just stayed in contact and remained friendly. And so we decided, we'll hang out at the concert together since we're there. And so they made the convention center very intimate. The area we were in, They had chairs, they had tables, they had like those white tablecloths over them and the candles in the center and all of this. So we would talk, in between songs or songs that we weren't really trying to listen to. And I'm not sure what was going on and why. Like, I'm not a pyromaniac at all. So I don't really play with fire like that, but something was going on that I must have did something and the candle fell over. And or something happened. I don't know. We always joke about how I almost burned it down, but it did not burn down. So I guess that's the whole thing about the story. But I always have that story when I think about the Isley Brothers because it was just silly. But the Isley Brothers, when you think back that they started in 1959 and they are still going, Ron Isley is still on the radio today with new stuff. Like, that's incredible. That is what's incredible. That's remarkable. That is amazing. That is epic. Those are icons. That's all I got. Ernie, every jam he said he wrote. Who knew? I mean, I'm sure some people knew. I didn't know. Like, he was good with his songs because they had some good songs. I mean, Groove With You at Your Best. Make Me Say It Again. Footsteps in the Dark. Choosy Lover. Voyage to Atlantis. Between the Sheets. For the Love of You. Don't Say Goodnight. Smooth Sailing. Sensuality. I mean, goodness gracious. I hope you watched the verses last night. If not, find it on YouTube because it is so worth it. They both are already in my playlist. But the funny thing is that I'm going to have to put some more songs. It's like my favorite Earth, Wind and Fire song. Well, it's a toss up. My slow one is Imagination. I love Imagination. It didn't make the list yesterday, but I also love Fantasy. Like, that is one that I just love. With the Isley Brothers, I love Smooth Sailing. I love Don't Say Goodnight. I love I Once Had Your Love. But they didn't play that one. That didn't make the cut yesterday either. But they just both have so many great songs. That was such a great, great time. And reading the comments, people were real silly yesterday. And I was just enjoying every bit of it. So I hope you watched it and that you enjoyed it too. But if you want, you can comment and let me know who you thought won, if you want to make it a competition, or you could just, talk about how you enjoyed what it is that you experienced too, because that was an experience. When I say that my soul was happy, like, music is my thing. Music is my thing. And I remember I was texting with my family members because my aunt, who passed away 2 years ago, loved music. I think she's one of the reasons that I love music as much as I do. But she loved music. And we went to see Earth, Wind and Fire together, and we danced the entire show, danced and sang the entire show. So of course she was there with me yesterday, and I couldn't help but to think about her, because to me, Earth, Wind and Fire was her and her family. Like, I have memories of going over her mother and father's house, and her brothers, who could sing too, and her, would always be singing some Earth, Wind and Fire song. So Earth, Wind and Fire has a place in my heart, just like the Isley Brothers do. So that was such a great moment. And it was a great experience because, we may never get anything like this again, not from people who are this legendary. But anyway, I'm going to go because I don't want this video to be 29 minutes, but I hope you watched it. And I did not really, really almost burn it down. As you can tell from my story, it was just kind of like, I almost burned it down, but thank goodness for a quick reaction. All right, you all take care. Bye-bye. And again, I got to figure out why technology just won't let me be great.